My name is Steve Hayes. I'm the founder and president of Allsafe Industries. I really appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to join us. Very excited to talk about the ChemPro X from Environics today. We've put some preparation in here to go over some details about the ChemPro X. But the more I learn about this instrument, the more I learn that there is a lot to it. Simple to use, but just a lot of information that we can access, all in a very easy user interface. So today, the key points we're going to cover are the details about the ChemPro X. We'll do a quick overview of the unit, and then I'm going to actually start up a unit so that you can see what that process looks like. Very excited to share some information with you about the training mode and then the wireless interface. And so in real time, I'm going to walk through the setup assistant and show you how easy it is to launch wireless on the ChemPro X. The first thing I wanted to do is just talk about some of the key points. First, the ChemPro X can detect a wide range of toxic industrial chemicals and chemical warfare agents. It has built-in libraries and multiple sensors that look at gas samples from multiple angles in order to be able to match it up to the library and classify, and in some instances identify. So it's a very robust instrument. Multiple wireless connectivity options. So we've got wireless LAN, we have Bluetooth capability, we have a 2.4 gigahertz radio in here. It's got GPS, so multiple wireless connectivity options to really give first responders and even industry the ability to share that information. As I mentioned, built-in GPS and group location. So the ChemPro X will form a mesh network so that you can see other users that are on your radio channel and be able to see those readings or mainly their status, whether they're measuring or whether they might be in an alarm condition. And again, that's shared with the whole group. One of the best features that I like about the instrument, 5-year warranty and nearly zero maintenance. So really bumper to bumper coverage. There's just not a lot that needs to be done to the ChemPro X. It's a very solid piece of equipment. It's been refined over many, many years to keep making the instrument better and better. So very excited about that. Multiple simulation and training modes, and I'm going to cover a few of those in our presentation and do a quick live demonstration, if you will, and show you what that looks like. The other exciting thing that's been developed is that it is unmanned vehicle ready without additional integration. So no software to load into your robot. We are just going to use the wireless features of the ChemPro X to be able to connect back to your laptop or tablet to be able to see those readings as you use UAVs or UGVs to move the ChemPro X into the area where it's going to take measurements. And then finally, on this slide, the optional CBRN kit, that offers biological and radiological detection. And what I really like about that extra CBRN kit is you can log all of that information into the ChemPro X that allows you to collect that data at one point. So I think that's a great feature. So this is what the CBRN kit looks like. As you can see, that has the ChemPro X. And if you'll notice in the picture of the instrument, when you attach the radiation detector, it brings up a new image on the screen, the little yellow circle with the radiation symbol in it. And just bear in mind that when you attach the radiation module, you will have that additional page that gives you your radiation readings. And then if you'll notice in the top of the lid are the Envi assay readers. So 7 different biological test kits, 2 of each. And another great feature in the ChemPro X is there's a place in the menus where you can log the results of those biological tests. And again, this gives you the ability to download one data file that's going to give you chemical, biological, and radiological information from your event or your incident all in one easy to access file to keep all that data together. So we're going to go through an overview of the ChemPro X now, and I'm going to start here on the PowerPoint to basically give some brief history. Environics has been doing this for nearly 30 years now. They have a long history in manufacturing open loop IMS, ion mass spectroscopy, and you'll see some pictures down there. Early on, they were private labeled by other companies. So we see the Draeger multi-IMS down there. The original ChemPro 100 is that second instrument. The ChemRay, if anyone remembers, Ray Systems introduced a version of the ChemPro called the ChemRay. And then the final picture there is the latest version, the ChemPro 100i. If you have any of these instruments, we'd love to talk to you about upgrading to ChemPro X. So bear that in mind, but those were all well-respected instruments. Same technology, just keeps getting better. And that's one of the things we try to do here at Allsafe Industries is continuous improvement. So I really like what Environics is doing. They keep making this product better and better, and I'm excited to share those details with you today. So the first thing with the ChemPro X is that when it's stored, you do want it to be in a closed position. That way, any stray vapors that may be in or around your kit, in or around your station, in or around the place where you're taking measurements, we don't let those into the instrument until we're ready to. So the first step is to open the port in order to allow the samples to come in. We'll push and hold the power button. We'll see a green light come on, and then it's going to start up the power up sequence. We'll see some initializing screens, and then finally, when it's finished with its warm up, it will go into measuring mode. A new feature for ChemPro X is that the confidence sample check is stored right in the Pelican case, but in its own chamber. That way there's no possibility that any of that confidence sample can get to the instruments while you're just in storage. So I really like that feature as well. And then finally, I'll talk about startup and shutdown just really quickly. When you're ready to shut the meter down, same button, push and hold the power button. You'll see a message come up on screen that says shutting down, are you sure? So it's going to look for a confirmation button pressed there. And what I really like about this instrument is if you've detected some chemicals and it hasn't been a full 30 minutes, you're going to be prompted to let the instrument run for 30 minutes just to flush out any chemicals that are left in the sample train. You can override that, but we don't recommend that. If you've sampled chemicals, you've detected chemicals, you've actually gone into alarm, the shutdown will be prohibited so that you can make sure that we clear all of that gas sample out of the instrument before we shut it down. We wouldn't want to store the instrument with gases trapped inside, and so the instrument will actually prompt you to let it run for 30 minutes to clear it out. So this is our ChemPro X that's already up and running. I've got some training sources there. We'll go to that in a little bit. I'm going to pivot now to my other ChemPro X and just show you the boot up sequence. So again, the first thing I want to do here is open up my sample port. And then 3-button sequence down here, and there's my power button. So I'm going to go ahead and press that button. This takes 2 or 3 minutes to fully run the boot up sequence. And then you do want your meter to run about 10 minutes just to let all those sensors warm up and get ready for their day at work, if you will. While that's happening, I just wanted to grab the meter I already have on and running and run through a few details. So this is the ChemPro X that I already have up and running. And I just want to point out a few of the features here. So of course, my sample port is already open because this one's on and running. This is where your sample is going to enter the instrument. There's actually a rain shield that we could put on here if you are operating outside and there's rain or potential water mist that could get in there. You can put a rain shield on there. This is an accessory port. So this has a nice aggressive rubber cap to it to keep that clean and dry when you're not using it. This is where you would plug in your radiation module if you purchase the full CBRN kit. So we want to keep that engaged when we're not using it. Of course, nice full color screen here. We've got our 3 buttons with easy to use navigation. Again, I'm very impressed how intuitive the navigation on this instrument is. And then here on the bottom of the instrument, you can see I've got my battery latch and my battery hatch. So in there is where my battery is. And then this is my charging and communications port. So once again, really aggressive rubber cap here to keep anything out of there while I'm out and using the instrument. So that's a quick overview of just the general features of the meter. When you're using this instrument, it is a slow, methodical process to go through and take your samples. You need to give the instrument time to react to the gases or vapors that are coming into the detection instrument. And so we just want to make sure that as you have identified that it's now time to break out your IMS meter, you've gone through that 10-minute warm-up. When you go into the space to start taking samples, you do want to take a slow, methodical approach to it. When we get to the trend screen, you'll see that the reaction is going to be accurate to the gases that you're sampling, but there is some time needed to let the instrument fully analyze that sample. The $10 word we use for this instrument is orthogonal detection. That just means we're looking at the sample from multiple directions using various sensors. There's MOS sensors, temperature and humidity sensors. There's an ionization chamber. There's actually a radiation source in there. We've got a lot going on because we're looking at that, we're looking at that sample from multiple angles to be able to classify and, again, in some instances, identify. So now you can see my ChemPro X is up and running. Again, I'm just going to give some brief overview. So it shows right now that I'm measuring. It's reminding me that I'm tick classification. I can use my menus to navigate to chemical warfare agents if I needed to. You can see these 4 little dots right here. Those are just the different pages of information that I could view. And once again, if I did attach the radiation module, I'd have 5 little dots down there because the 5th one would give me my radiation detection readings. So I'm just going to use my navigation buttons here. This information button brings up a different menu that we're going to be using later. I really like this. It has a notification menu. So if anything happens on the instrument that you need to take a look at, you're going to get an indication here. They actually put a little character next to that to let you know that there's new notifications and you can navigate in there. There's a setup assistant that we're going to go through when we go to set up the wireless, different mode info. There's actually a quick manual on board, device information, the agent database, and this button now returns me to my home screen, or I could navigate through these again for a matter of time. I'm not going to go through every menu. So again, this is my main reading page, but then if I navigate using this button, you can see I go to the second page here. This is what we call the trend screen. The trend screen is showing me what my reading is at the moment. One thing I always point out when we're talking about ChemPro X, you can see a scale here on the side, but that scale is just a relative reading. It doesn't mean part per million. It doesn't mean part per billion. It doesn't mean percent. It's just a reference scale to show you as the instrument is reacting to gas. And as it moves higher and higher, which I'll show you in a little bit, that scale will start to shrink just again to give you a reference point of what your reading is doing. If I navigate again, I would get my location data. I'm indoors, so I don't have a GPS signal to show me my map, but that's where this would show up if I have acquired GPS. And then when I set up my network, I will see other instruments that are on the network on that 4th page. And we can connect up to 10 instruments all on one particular screen. I'm going to navigate back to the first page. That's my OK page. The one button I haven't talked about is this middle button, and that's your menu button. And again, there's so many things you can do here. I won't have time in this call to go through them all, but I can change my detection mode. So if I want the menu that I'm looking at, I use this button. If I don't, I'll navigate down to the next one. So detection mode, if I press that, that gives me the option to do toxic industrial chemicals, or I could switch over to chemical warfare agents. If I go back, I can set a basic level calculation. It's kind of like setting a new baseline so that our trend graph can then reset and help you get to the source of whatever it is, whether you're on I smell something call, or you just have very minute amounts of whatever the target gas is that you need to continue to work towards. You can reset your basic level that actually helps you get closer to the source of the chemical. As I mentioned, we can do a confidence check on this instrument. So your sample is stored right here in the side of the Pelican case. You would just need to make sure that you still have liquid in your confidence sample, which you can see that I do. The other recommendation is if you are going to run this confidence sample, you want to either put it in your pocket or put it in your hand and warm up that sample. We want that liquid to volatilize so we can get a gas sample out of it. And then if we run the confidence check on the ChemPro X, it gives you step-by-step instructions with pictures. Let's go back here. Of course, we have some wireless options. I do want to show you this menu because, again, multiple wireless options on this instrument. Again, I can do Bluetooth. You can see the part of the logo there. We can do a wireless area network. We can turn on our radio, again, 2.4 gigahertz radio and GPS. So multiple wireless options to give you a lot of connectivity choices when you're running your incident. Of course, there's a settings menu. You can make memos on alarms. This is that feature I mentioned earlier, where if you do use the biological sampling kits that come in the CBRN kit, you can make note of whether or not you had a negative or a positive on those tests inside the ChemPro. That then gives us that one data file that's going to give us our chemical information. It's going to give us our biological test information that we would enter by hand here. And then, of course, we're going to have our radiological readings with the connected rad detector that we can connect to our accessory port up here. And then, of course, if I wanted to shut the meter down via the menus, I could do it here. But again, we can also power down the meter just by using the power button. So I want to cycle back to settings. Again, just to quickly show you all of these things that this instrument can do. So again, very simple navigation. I could go home, I could enter this menu, or I could go through these. I'm going to go ahead and press that. So I can turn my covert mode on and off. As you can see, right now I have it turned on, which is why I have a little X near the speaker. If I had that off, I can adjust the loudness of the buzzer. I can turn on a trend beep. I can adjust the settings on my backlight. I can turn a screensaver on and off. So if you turn on the screensaver, then that's going to prolong your battery life because it's going to blank out the screen when so much time elapses. I can change the value of my LED, and then there's an advanced mode. So if I go to advanced mode, it is going to ask me for a password. It's defaulted to 4 zeros. You can change that if you like. And then I really get into the details. I can change the language. I can change the units. There's where I could reset the pin. I could erase all the data. I could do a factory reset, time and date. There's my training mode. So we're going to test that later. I can set up my communications, my user interface settings, and then my map and location settings. Again, I'm indoors, so I don't have that right now. And then again, very simple menus to navigate. Once I'm done doing what I was doing, I just navigate out, and then eventually I'm going to get all the way back to the home screen, and there we are. Now, I did want to talk about that training mode. I'll go through a few slides, and then I'll show you some live information here with the instruments. So I'm really impressed with this training system. When you purchase the full CBRN kit, you get a dozen of these Bluetooth simulators. They come in 4 different flavors, is what I called it, and 3 different ranges. You can see these training sources here. Just a very simple design. When it's time, I'm going to open these up and I'll flip that battery over. That's the way we turn on these training sources. And there is multiple choices here for the training sources. This one is, you can see this, this simulates a toxic. This one would simulate a blister agent. This one simulates a nerve agent. And this one simulates a blood agent. So again, 4 different flavors. And then these are the point sources. I picked this one because this is a very close-in training source. You'll notice on this one, it says large area. And I was testing this the other day. When we say large area, it's large area. I was getting readings once I was within 300 feet of this Bluetooth simulator. And so pretty wide range. This is really going to be helpful as you're first starting to teach people how to use the ChemPro X. And then this unit, as you can see, says medium area. And so this one is about 100 feet out in my scientific testing. Once I was just walking towards the instrument with this in my hand, this medium area simulator is about 100 feet. And then these point simulators are like 3 feet. And so you'll really need to be right on top of these, which is good training if you're trying to show your responders how to really locate the source of that potential leak when you're training. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go to settings. And then I'm going to go to advanced because we wouldn't want this to get turned on accidentally. So we do need to go to the advanced menu. Again, I'm defaulted to all zeros at the moment. And then here's my training mode down here. So notice this icon. This icon's very important because every time you're doing something in training mode, the information will be denoted by that icon. So bear that in mind as we go through this. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the training, and then I'm going to enable it. So check mark to turn it on. It's asking me to confirm, enter training mode. I'm going to say yes. And then I'm going to also turn on BLE sources, Bluetooth low energy sources. All right. So now what you'll see as I navigate out of the menus is now I have flashing blue bar at the top, and I have that training icon, and that's flashing blue as well. This is showing me that this meter is now in training mode, and it's set up for training tick classification. So now I'm going to take my toxic point source, and I'm just going to open this up real quick, flip open the battery. This is how we turn this unit on. This back together. There's little indents on here. Sometimes I lose them. There they are. I don't know if you can see those on camera, but those little indents, you just line those up and put those back together. And now my training source in my hand, and there you can see I'm already detecting on the trend. So I'm going to back this off a little bit so we can watch that trend go down. So I'm further away from the instrument than 3 feet. And then as I bring my training chip back in, you can see that my trend is going to start to react to this training chip. And I really like the way the engineers have designed this because it has that little bit of lag time, just like you would have if you were out in the field. And there we go. You can see now I'm still in training mode, but I've gone to a red screen, and it's given me an indication that now I have a toxic industrial chemical hydride. If I go back to my main screen, you can see that it's definitely given me the indication that I picked something up, again in training mode. And if I move my source away or I turn my source off, then this will subside. I'll go to the trend screen again. You can see that reading starting to fall. And then real quick, back to page 1, and I'm back to green. So really impressed with that training mode that we have on the ChemPro X. Earlier, I mentioned that if something happens on the instrument, it's going to start flashing at you to let you know, hey, you have a notification that you need to check. So check right here, my information icon is blinking at me. If I click my button here, see the little caret here tells me I have a new notification. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the notifications menu. And sure enough, it shows me that I had a tick low and a tick medium while I was in that training mode. So let's look at that real quick. Tick low. If I navigate again to the next, and then it tells me the details about that. Response procedures, alarm tick low. Toxic chemical detected, over alarm limit. Normally 10 minutes to protect, locate, and confirm the reason for the alarm. So you're getting some bullet points right here on the instrument for each alarm that I get. So this is very helpful because you're not going to be responding to actual alarms and actual chemical warfare agents all the time. And so it's nice that you have this little information screen to remind you of some of the details. So as you're in the heat of responding, you've got this help here to assist you in that response. So I'm very impressed with this. I also wanted to show you that there are other options for training with the ChemPro X. You can also run the same training simulations in the command and control and training interface. So I'll be talking about these software interfaces here in a little bit, but what's exciting about the training interface is you can actually bring up your map screen, and using the tools that are in the interface, you can draw on the map where you want to simulate a release, whether it's a chemical warfare agent or if it's a toxic industrial chemical. And then as your responders are on the training ground and moving through to learn about the ChemPro X and get familiar with its operation, if they step into that geo-fenced area, they're going to start to get that alarm. So not only can we use the Bluetooth training simulators that I just showed you, we can also use the training simulator that's baked in, if you will, to the command and control training interface. And we can put hotspots on our map that will help us see our responders that we're training and watch that critical thinking process happen in real time. It's really a very robust training system. The other training that you can do through Environics is on their website. They do ask you to fill out a web form, and you'll have to get that passcode so that you can enter that. But they have training resources and training videos right on the web. The next topic I wanted to cover is the wireless interface. And again, I'm going to do this in real time just so that you can see how easy this is to do. The wireless interface is baked into the wireless LAN connection, so there's no software that we need to load at all. I go to Setup Assistant, enter the menu. Again, I'm just following my navigation here. And then it's asking me, do you want to configure a radio data group? Do you want to access the ChemPro X interface program? Or do you want to close unnecessary connections? So I'm just going to jump right in, and I'm going to establish a radio data group. So I'm going to use my navigation buttons here, and it's asking me, is this the first device in the group? Yes, it is. So I'm going to confirm that. Then it's asking me to choose a channel and a pin for the group. Now, I've had experience with this. If I choose auto-generate, I am going to get an auto-generated channel and key pin, and then I have to use my up and down buttons over and over again to put that number in. In an interest of time, I'm just going to let it be channel 1 with a key pin of 00000. It just makes this go faster. So I'm going to say continue. It's configuring that radio connection. And now it's asking me, would you like to use the command and control training user interface from this device? I'm going to say yes to that. And now it's asking me, let's connect your client device, either my tablet or my laptop, or in this instance, my computer. Please have it ready. So my computer is on and running. I'm going to say OK. And then it's asking me which type of connection would you like to use. I could use a wireless, I could use a wired, or I could use direct Ethernet. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes to this wireless LAN. And then I have choices. I can connect this client directly to the device. I can connect this device to the client. But what I want to be able to do is via an existing network. This is going to allow me to keep my computer on the internet and connect my ChemPro X simultaneously. So this is the choice I'm going to make, which I would select it using this button. And now it's saying, please connect your client to the network, which my computer's already on my network. And then it's asking me to find my network. Is it visible or is it hidden? It is visible. And so now it's just going to do, just like when you're connecting your laptop to available wireless, it's just going to show me a list. And there you can see my networks available. We only have 3 buttons, right? So obviously there's got to be a way to be able to put in capital letters, lowercase letters. So if you navigate to this icon, it allows you to change the characters that you can choose from. So this is the capital letter menu. This is the lowercase menu. These are my numbers, and these are my characters. So if I go back to numbers, then I can just use my left and right buttons to navigate to the proper number, and then select that. And then I could navigate to my next digit. And again, I'm going to pull this away while I input our full password for our wireless network. So bear with me while I finish this entry. All right, I have my password entered, and now it is configuring. And then you can see, should we get an IP address from the network or define a specific static IP address? So again, I like Environics giving me options. And even for the non-IT person like me, it says right here, this is the typical way. This is the way, right? Mandalorian. So I'm going to navigate to that. It's configuring. And now it's giving me a IP address to navigate to in order to access this user interface. I have a new tab open on my browser. Again, I'm going to navigate to this address here that was prompted on the ChemPro. Again, without loading any software whatsoever, I am going to enter the command and control and tracing user interface. I can bring in my maps. Again, I'm indoors, so it's remembering its old GPS locations, but there's my 2 meters over there. I've got some functions here where I can draw a simulation area to do some more training. I have a setup menu here where I can look at a map database and my license information. I also have the ability to send an evacuation notice to all the devices if something were happening and I needed to let everyone know it's time to evacuate. And then I can actually start a timer so that I can see how long the event has been going. One trick I've learned here in order to see the other software program is that I can simply copy my IP address here, and I'm going to change the ending from CCT to XIP. That's the ChemPro X interface program. And once I launch that program, I'm going to get a whole new set of information, and it's going to allow me to see my real-time data. So you can see my trend line has started here, so I can see the status of my instrument. I could do a live calculating basic level if I wanted to. I could look at my logs. I can adjust some settings on the instrument. So if suddenly I need to be, I'm already in covert mode, but if I needed to turn this on or off, I could. I could turn my volume, trend beep, and then all the instructions for the instrument are embedded in this same interface. So I have my different pages of information for the libraries that are built in. I have a quick reference guide. I have the full manual. I have the user manual for the software program that I'm using right now, as well as one for that command and control and training. And if I click this login button, and again, it's the same default password that we had earlier, 4 zeros, and I click login, you can see that I've opened up some additional menus. So I have an update menu now where I can upload my firmware, or I could load map files in here. But look at my settings screen now. All kinds of things that I can do live on the instrument. So this really gives a huge amount of flexibility to incident command to be able to make changes on the fly through this wireless interface that is baked into the wireless LAN. So I'm just very impressed. By the way, this line you see right here just denotes when I changed from the TIC libraries to the chemical warfare agent libraries. I really appreciate everybody's time to be engaged and learn some more about the ChemPro X. We really look forward to helping you, whether this is your first IMS instrument or if you are looking to upgrade a piece of older equipment that may have been discontinued. So thank you again. I'm going to sign off. I appreciate you joining us today. Thanks so much.